Good afternoon. Here we go. Today we are concluding those interviews with a very unique guest. With me is Mr. Anas Al-Madani. He is the VP, Vice President and Group CEO of Eindeks Holding. Eindeks Holding are organizing the global franchise market this year. Mr. Anas, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and it's a real pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure as well to be the guest or the host of Arab Franchise Magazine. Let me start with you and to ask you about the exhibition this year, since also you are organizing this. How was the exhibition? Especially also we are in the last day, and we are also now, I can see people are closing, so you must have a complete picture about the exhibition.
Absolutely. Actually, this is the first exhibition after the pandemic,
Okay.
And a first physical event for franchising to take place after the pandemic. It was difficult to set expectations in the beginning, but to be honest with you, as we end the show today, the event ended with resounding success. We're very happy to say that the brands that have participated today with us from different parts of the world have really had a great experience and a good number of meetings with investors from different
I heard
parts
they closed
of the
deals
GCC.
as well.
And yes, many of them have actually signed deals between master franchise deals and some individual deals, and I think this is a result of the success of the show.
Definitely.
I think at the same time, people are really eager to explore new opportunities in business, and as economies have opened up in not only in the UAE but in the GCC and the Arab world, many investors are now looking for new and creative ways to basically look where to invest in different areas. And franchising, generally speaking, is the best and easiest way to explore such domains.
And it's a growing trend as well.
Absolutely. Franchising is growing in the region, actually. We have seen it over the past 5 years, and I think we are still in the beginning when it comes to franchising in the GCC and the Arab world. Traditionally speaking, we have been importing, franchises from abroad, from US and from Europe and from
different parts
Asia
of the world
as well. But I think in the last 10 years, we have seen a lot of homegrown brands that have started. And I think this is a very nice thing to see that, a lot of these Arab brands have started also to produce high quality level, trademarks that can compete with, international brands. And I think with homegrown brands, we can see that a lot of people can easily relate to. And this is why they can spread easily, whether it is in their countries or across the region. And this is, I think, one of the biggest opportunities that we see that the franchise market here in the region is looking forward to tap into. And for a lot of the entrepreneurs, the Arab entrepreneurs who have been starting these brands now, I think it's the time that they are basically cultivating their results and their investments. Many of these brands have started franchising abroad, not only in their countries, regionally at least, and this is a great sign. On the other side, international brands still are investing here in the region. Dubai particularly is a very good launch pad for any brand, to start and to basically gain, popularity and momentum. And we've seen that still a lot of people are coming to explore opportunities here in the UAE.
Excellent. This is something that I want to ask you actually about the opportunities for franchise in the Arab world and in GCC in particular. And we are seeing an increased demand and also innovation and creativity in this. My question is franchise only related to F&B?
Not really, actually.
Okay.
Franchise businesses are actually covering many areas, F&B, services, property, and others. I believe that we have seen now, for example, franchises that do a lot of the services, whether it is healthcare, pharmacies,
Exactly,
laundries,
healthcare after pandemic.
property management. You know, a lot of these companies are bringing their know-how to kind of, you know, see how businesses in the service industry can be also tapped into, but from a franchise perspective. For example, it's much easier for me to get a franchise as a pharmacy than starting it myself.
Exactly.
You know, the learning curve is quite high, and you know, with
Risks
regulations
also.
and risk and everything. But on the other hand, you have successful brands
Yes.
that have exhibited with us even here in the show, and they're offering these franchise opportunities, so that learning curve is much shorter. You know, the credibility and the knowledge of the brand to the public is there, and that makes it very easy to invest and reduces the risk of investment in such brands. We've seen it in property management companies. We've seen it, for example, in other services like laundries and like advertising, where, you know, also again you have businesses in the franchising. So I believe it's not limited to F&B. F&B is a very popular area when
Yes.
it comes to franchising.
The highest probably.
And I still think there is room for more, you know, F&B, and there is a lot of creative ideas.
This is a good point here.
Yeah.
Why you think, I'm sure also you are the expert in this, the right person to answer, why F&B has such great potential and it keeps on growing. It's
Yeah,
like
I think-
endlessly.
I think let's talk about local and regional brands first,
Okay.
because like I explained in the beginning, we were importing brands.
Okay.
So now we are creating brands.
That's amazing achievement in the Arab
This is,
world.
you know, a big achievement for us, and that's why when we are seeing something that we can relate to, of course, we, as a customer, as a consumer, will be happy to go, you know, to a cafe or to a restaurant,
Yes.
which is, you know, locally
Developed.
developed
On creative
and
concept.
created. And this is, I think, where you see that you see a lot of those own or homegrown concepts are becoming successful, you know, and even going shoulder to shoulder sometimes with international brands. When we talk on the other side of the table about international brands, and even though in the UAE and even other places in GCC and even you know, the Arab world, we see a lot of international brands, but still I think brands with different concepts are exploring the market. You know, we've seen Turkey, for example, trying to, you know, penetrate a lot of the Arab countries with the different brands, whether it's food, services, fashion, and so forth. Same thing with Asia. You know, we have traditionally imported brands from US and Europe, but Asian brands are now starting also to become, you know, more visible in the region. They are exploring these opportunities that are there, and you know, knowing that from experience, the appeal to the GCC consumer, for example, to Asian brands is very strong.
I think also, what do you think? I mean, in another way, does the information revolution and now everything is digital, this has helped in a way or another also those brands and franchisers to be more exposed, and people then they know more about it then?
Absolutely. I think with social media and digitization, people are learning more about brands and experiences, you know, without even visiting, you know, the countries abroad.
Delivery also,
so that is also complemented with,
Yes.
you know, delivery and other, you know, aggregators that are supporting the businesses. So all of that plays a major role, but I think online and social media is always key in terms of driving, let's say, curiosity or interest into new regions, new brands. You know, people follow food bloggers, follow, you know,
Yes.
travel bloggers, and you know, these bloggers will go to different countries and have different experiences, and based on these experiences, they will share them with the public. And it's actually, if you're an investor, it's good to see what they're sharing,
Yes.
because then you will see how the public is interacting with these food bloggers and with these, you know, travel bloggers, and you'll see that there is a lot of potential in such areas.
Yeah. We as Arab Franchise Magazine as well, we publish a lot of important informations and studies and a lot of data about on our digital platform and printed as well about the franchise opportunities, and we help connecting also investors somehow to franchisees and franchisees with franchisers Also, the media role isn't important also to help develop the franchise business.
Actually, the media role is the most important one,
Okay.
and especially when you talk about new brands, homegrown brands, they really will rely on the support and the contribution of media. Without media, we cannot reach our target audience. We cannot we cannot get information. We always read your magazine and we read online and everything to try to get more information about what is new in the market, what is trending in the market, what data is there, and media is a very good source of information and a very good source of communication for franchise businesses. So definitely media plays a focal point in terms of giving that information for consumers, customers, and as well franchisors themselves.
Mr. Anas, we were so glad to have you on our cover page in the Arab Franchise magazine. So therefore, let me conclude with you this interesting interview by asking you, how do you see the future of the franchise business and the GCC precisely, and the Arab world generally?
So in terms of franchise business, I can talk to you as a franchisor and as a franchisee as well, because we have our own brands which we have created locally, and we have imported some brands also internationally. So I can give you an outlook from an experience of a franchise and a franchisee. The GCC specifically is still demanding more new creative concepts that I believe are focusing on the young population of this region. They're always looking for new trending concepts, and that's why I believe there are a lot of opportunities there. I am still a big supporter and a big fan of homegrown concepts. I believe that our role as the organizer of the fair, as a business and even as media, to really support these homegrown businesses so that we can give them the chance to basically be part of our community first, and then export that community, export that Arab culture to the world. So I think that gap is still open from the GCC perspective and even the Arab world. And that's why when you see, I've seen, for example, brands from Saudi Arabia who have already in Saudi 40 or 50 branches, which is not a small number for homegrown brands. And that gives you a good message that we can do such strong investments in local franchises. The Arab world itself, I think, is still open also to a lot of franchise concepts, whether it is regional or international. Egypt, for example,
it's
a very big market for franchising. I was in Egypt right before COVID, and I was impressed by the number of brands that have entered the market. Some were, some Arab brands, but there were a lot of international brands that have recently entered the market and are doing very well. So the outlook for the Arab world and for the GCC is still strong from franchising. I believe much stronger than mature markets like Europe and like Asia, where the market is too saturated there. Still there are lots of opportunities, F&B or services, all of that is still available for people to consider when it comes to franchising.
Excellent. Mr. Anas Al-Madani, VP and Group CEO of Eindeks Holding, I would like to thank you on behalf of Arab Franchise Magazine and for being our guest today. And inshallah, we look forward to host you again in future. It's always a pleasure to talk with you and share your insights, your wonderful insights about franchise business and different other aspects as well, media and related.
Absolutely. It's a real pleasure to be with you. Thank you for the coverage as well, for the event, and being a really important partner of TGFM and being an important partner of franchising here in the Arab world. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Real pleasure.
Thank you.